You're listening to the Jam Price Show, all about movies, and today my guest is award-winning cinematographer, producer, and director Louie Schwartzberg, and we're going to be talking about this amazing new documentary entitled Gratitude Revealed. Welcome to the show, Louie.
Great to be with you, Jan.
Thank you. I'm so excited to talk about this movie. I actually, when I saw it, I actually made room in my schedule to make sure that I could interview you
Great.
before the global event that you have coming up, which we'll talk a little bit about. But I love this film. It is beautifully shot because you are an amazing cinematographer. And you just brought in so many amazing spiritual uh, teachers that I have worked with and gone to see over the years. So it was lovely seeing them. But not only that, the wonderful Norman Lear. So we're going to talk about all of that. So first, let's talk about this, let the audience know a little bit what Gratitude Revealed is all about, and then also why it took 40 years, why it was 40 years in the making.
Well, it took 40 years because I've been like collecting these little magic moments with remarkable but ordinary people. And given that my parents were Holocaust survivors, I love to tell stories about people who overcome adversity, but have hope and love and joy in their life. And those are the stories I like to tell. And so every time I'm able to capture a little vignette with people or luminaries, I'm always asking those questions like, what are the values that add up to gratitude? Courage, creativity, compassion, generosity. These are all the values that we all cherish. But I think the overarching umbrella for all the positive values we have is really just expressing thanks and gratefulness to the people you love.
Right, right. It's something, hopefully we don't need to be reminded, but sometimes we do, need to be reminded. The one section of, well, there's many, but the one section was the animated section that you had about the two older people who were, what, 85. And I cried. I cried when I watched that. Do you want to tell the listeners a little bit about that? I just thought that was
Yeah.
so beautiful, so beautiful.
So the people that I've interviewed are people who I've either worked with or have known, in the course of my life. Norman Lear going back decades where I've worked together on his Declaration of Independence project, etc. The piece you're talking about is by the poet rapper Inq. And when he did that, when I heard that poem, I cried as well.
Hmm.
As a matter of fact, I cry every time I see it.
Yeah.
And it's so moving about this, elderly couple that love each other. And I don't want to, say what happens toward the end, but it just moves you on connecting with the deepest, most powerful, purest form of love, you know, unconditional love. And so when I heard that poem, I wanted to illustrate it. And the only way to really illustrate it was to do animation. And so we created an animation sequence in our movie. I mean, I feel like I'm not stuck to any one genre. Some of it, there's some brief interviews, there's cinema verite, there's montage, there's spoken word. I'm not even sure it's a documentary, to be honest. Um, it's more of a journey, a poem, um, an emotional
Yeah.
experience that reflects at least the people that have inspired me in my life on what gratitude is all about.
Beautiful. Just beautiful. Yeah, you're right. It almost isn't a documentary. It's something even deeper
Yeah.
and
Well,
richer.
only because doc when you compare my film to other films, documentaries tend to be journalism, and
Right.
journalism is either investigative journalism, which is like muckraking and negative stories that need to be told, and light needs to be shed upon. And it's not what my films are about. I think my films are more about a celebration of life.
Right.
And it's weird to be in the same category. It's just, in a way, I think I'm closer to fiction because I'm telling a story than quote unquote nonfiction. It's just that I use nonfiction imagery to tell my story.
Beautiful. Just beautiful. let's talk about Norman Lear. You brought him up a little bit earlier. I did also. How did you said you worked with him years ago. I mean, here he's now 100. I mean, he's absolutely amazing. Just absolutely amazing. I can't believe he's 100. I mean,
Well,
his mind is as sharp as a tack, and he
I
looks like
know
he's in
he's
great
a
shape.
hundred. He's 100, and he's up for an Emmy.
I know.
So
It's
how many
unreal.
people can do that?
No.
So I think Norman and I are kindred spirits. I just think, he's got a great book. His biographical book is like, I'm just another version of you. And
Oh,
I think I'm just another version of him. I think we're liberal, we're progressive, we're Jewish. I mean, there's a lot to have in common, but I think we both want to make the world a better place. And so the projects that I've worked with Norman, the Declaration of Independence project, we filmed in Philadelphia in Independence Hall, and I did a lot of kind of magical lighting for that. Um, when right after 9/11, he did a music video where he gathered all the country western singers to do a version of like America the Beautiful, and I provided imagery for that. So we've always been trying to figure out how to not just help each other, but how to inspire people.
well, obviously, he's been a big inspiration throughout his life with all the
Yeah,
things that he has done, and certainly with your movie, Fantastic Fungi,
both of
which
it.
was brilliant, a brilliant film. I mean, everybody loves that movie. I can't tell you how many people kept telling me I had to see that movie over. And when I said I was interviewing you, and I said, and he was he created Fantastic Fungi, and everybody said, "Oh my God, that's such a great movie." So yeah, this is another one. I know so many people I know I've talked to about this, and they can't wait to see it actually. So they can really can't.
I think I was just going to say there's an interesting connection, I think, between both films because, in a way, Fantastic Fungi was a journey, beneath the ground to learn about nature's wisdom, as well as, showcasing some of the therapeutic, trials that are happening with psychedelics to treat trauma and PTSD. So if that's a journey like beneath the ground, I think Gratitude Revealed is a journey within us,
Mhm.
a search to get to our soul, to listen to your inner voice, and to be your best friend.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. One of the things that I do, and I've been doing this, oh my God, for I don't know, well over 35 years or longer, is before I get out of bed, I say the 5 things I'm grateful for. And as I put my feet on the floor, I go, I am blessed. And that's how I
Yeah.
start off my day. So it's in that attitude of gratitude. It's the best way to live and be grateful for everything that happens, and also our food. I do bless my
Yeah.
food, simply, but I do, and I thank it,
Yes.
So, um, there's so many things to talk about in this movie, but the little girl. Do you know what I'm talking about? Let's
Yeah, I
talk
do.
about her. She was just amazing. She was just adorable and profound and beyond her years. She was just, yeah, I was just a light, just this light at what? She's 6. How old is she? About that age, 6, 8.
Yeah, 7 or 8, maybe first or second grader. It was like a school on Matinicus Island, which is a little island off the coast of Maine. And the story was really about the teacher. The teacher is a lobster fisherwoman, one of the only female lobster fishermen. And so in the summer, she's um, you know, uh, catching lobsters. In
Mm-hmm.
the winter, she teaches children. And so she just happened to be this, one of the kids in the class. And like out of the mouth of babes comes wisdom. It was unexpected. You know, it's a gift, a total gift.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just again, I was just amazed. Each
Yeah.
generation, I think is more and more conscious. I think as we
Yeah.
go forward, and she's
Yeah.
obviously a very conscious young girl, and I hope she remains conscious as she moves forward in her life.
Yeah,
So
but for her to say what she said to the audience, it's like when you watch TV, it's just pretend, but if you explore, you get more imagination than you already had, and it could lead you to a path. It could be a beach or something, and it could be beautiful. I mean, it's just so simple and
Yes,
prophetic, and what a wonderful, simple metaphor for how to live your life.
exactly. Exactly. She was, I mean, then you kind of went, oh, I'm not going to watch TV anymore. I'm
I
going to go out more.
love the fact she gets the idea. It's just pretend, you know.
Yes. Yeah. I thought that was just really amazing. Why do you, I mean, obviously, one of the things you talk about, and I just want to read it very quick, gratitude is a proven pathway back from the disconnection we feel in our lives, disconnection from ourselves, our planet, and each other. Did you feel during the pandemic that that was even that statement was even driven home even more because people felt truly disconnected more during that time, perhaps than any other time in our history, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think what happens is these things like, having friends and family over for dinner are things we take for granted, and you don't realize how important they are until they're gone.
Right.
When the fires happen in California and the sky is no longer blue, you you realize how you took for granted this whole idea about blue skies. So the period we're in right now, there's a lot of despair and disconnection.
Right.
I think the pandemic certainly, had a lot to do with it, but also we're in this like political, polarized, chaos. We're also dealing with environmental degradation that is finally kind of hitting the tipping point. It's easy to understand why people can feel um, disconnected and despair. And everyone's talking about a big mental health crisis that is looming around the corner, and teenage suicide is up. So I think that the film can offer a baby step in the right direction. It's not a solution, but when we're overwhelmed with all this negative energy and negative news and digital media, et cetera, it's constant. One way to like flip the switch is to be able to think of something that you're grateful for. And it could be like a flower. It could be like what practice you do when you wake up, or just move your fingers and go, I'm so grateful my body works.
Right.
I'm grateful to the trillion cells of my body are working in harmony. How about that? Only
Yeah.
when it goes wrong do you really take that seriously, and you take that for granted that every day
Right.
everything's working perfectly. So there's always something you can be grateful for. And when the positive energy enters you, the negative energy shuts down, because you can't have both going at the same time, you
Right.
know?
Right.
And we all suffer from rumination. It's easy to go into a negative spiral about things that um, disappointments. Somebody said something to you that was, that hurtful, whatever it might be. And it's like we have to find a way to flip the switch and like embrace something that is actually good for your body, good for your health, and good for your mind, obviously.
Just like that little girl said. We should go to the
Yeah.
beach or take a walk or whatever it is to switch that just taking a movement and switching the switch. And you're completely right. The first thing I always am grateful for, number one on that list and has been, is my health.
Yeah.
If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. You just don't
Right.
have anything. It's the most important thing you can have, I believe, and that's the thing I'm most grateful for. And I've certainly seen, many friends go through lots of things that, have been difficult for them on the physical level. So I'm grateful for that too.
Yeah.
What was how long did it take you? It's 40 years in the making, but how long did it take you to put this film together?
It was about a year and a half of editing to find the right, flow and narrative for all these little pieces. It's kind of like if I was building a mosaic, and you find and you scavenge all these pieces of tile. You don't know how it's all going to fit. So there's a lot of experimentation, but it was the perfect thing to do during COVID when I wasn't able to go out and film. So now is the perfect time for me to put it together. And I think the universe sometimes guides you in a beautiful way, that this particular film needs to come out now. When Fantastic Fungi came out in late fall 2019, it was just at the beginning of the psychedelic renaissance, when people are finally coming out of the closet and having honest conversations about, you know, um, plant medicine, without the paranoia and you know, mistruths about all these things that have gone on for 10,000 years, if
Right.
not longer, you know.
Right.
So um, the timing was perfect for that, you know, and I didn't plan that either, you know. So uh, I'm grateful that the universe has my back on that.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
uh, so what was the most difficult part putting this together, other than the editing, which I'm assuming was the most truly difficult?
Yeah.
What else was really difficult about putting this
Well,
together?
in editing, it's like you got so much good stuff. Like, what do you leave out? You
Right.
know, um, I don't know. You know, what's interesting? I kind of struggled a little bit about having a little bit of me in a movie as a quote unquote interviewer. I've never really done that before. And to the few people I've screened it for, they've always said, God, there should be more of you, which I thought was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but actually, I'm there the whole time because my questions are never in the movie. I love the pure form of cinema verite where, you know, people are speaking to camera or they're doing their job, whatever it is they're doing. But obviously they're being directed. It's just that you're not hearing the question, you know, and even this, like what we're doing right now, you shape the story by the questions that you ask, you know. And so I'm always shaping the story, not only by the questions that I ask, but what I decide to leave in editorially
Mm-hmm.
later on. So um, it's um, it's never easy, you know, but I just want to turn people on. So when I shoot it, I feel like this is a magic moment, that it's precious. You know, not every moment in life is precious. The value of an audience being able to watch like the highlights of a 40-year journey is really a gift. I wish I could do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you look back, you know, if you reminisce on your own life, you know, and you think about all the good stuff, it's like you're just going from mountain peak to mountain peak, you know. It'd be nice to cut that together in a little short movie that you could play for yourself. So that's kind of what this film is like, in that these are powerful, inspirational, emotional moments that open your heart. That's
Mm-hmm.
what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. It is a heart opening film. There's no question about it. There is definitely um, a deep spiritual aspect to this film. And that doesn't happen that often. So, you know, congratulations to you that you were able to put that together in this film. And I think it is needed now more than ever. So the timing is perfect. I think, you know, a lot of people are still feeling somewhat desperate after the pandemic, but with everything that's going on, as we've already discussed, you know, in the world right now. And I think there's a lot of desperation and for many, many people. And so if those people, if anybody, let's hope everybody can come see this film, I think their hearts will be opened and touched by this, you know, it's just a beautiful film, as I said earlier. It truly is. For you, how did you, you have Michael Beckwith, who I adore, and Lynne Twist, who I've worked with in the past on other projects, Deepak Chopra. You know, I listen to his meditations almost every day. You know, how did you attract these wonderful spiritual leaders into your film?
Well, I mean, a lot of them I've met at, you know, like at conferences we've been to where we're all on, you know, speakers, you know. I always find it surprising that I'm considered a thought leader. I'm more of, I think, a healer with my imagery. But these are wonderful people that I get to listen to and get to see back, you know, in the green room, and we connect. And I knew when I wanted to, you know, talk about generosity, there's nobody better than Lynne Twist, you know.
Right, right. Yeah.
So it was kind of like a natural fit to find the right voice for the right concept. And what I have them do is I have them just set it up, because nobody in the film is prescriptive. Nobody says, here's what you should do. Here's how to live your life. I want people to be able to view the experience and be immersed in it and create their own context. Let their own inner voice tell them, you know, how they want to um, take this in and hopefully have it be something beneficial in their own life. And that is the ultimate spiritual practice when you think about it. We should all have our own quote unquote religion or spiritual practice. We shouldn't all believe the same thing,
Right.
because that has led to a lot of war and suffering
Right.
over historically, you know. But you are your own Buddha deep inside. And then I think a lot of times people cry in Fantastic Fungi and Gratitude Revealed. I go, why are you crying at the end of the movie? Like, why are there tears? It's not sad. It's because this overwhelming joy of reconnecting with your soul. It's been so long since I've been there. It's like a homecoming, right? That
Mm-hmm.
feeling you get when you get back in your own bed, if you've been traveling, or the feeling you get from going to your hometown, even if it's funky. Like I get a warm feeling when I go to Brooklyn, when I look at garbage and fire escapes and brick buildings. It's like weird, like, but I have a warm feeling inside of me. Um, I
That's
think,
interesting. Go on. You
yeah,
think what?
it is. But everyone's hometown, I think we have that feeling, we have pride in our hometown. It's because we came from, and it was your world as a child. Anyways, I think the point being is we all yearn for connection,
Yes.
connection with each other, and connection deep inside.
And as you said earlier, with the iPhones and the computers and everything else, it's separating us more than ever. And it's just how do we trying to turn it off, so we don't have, because we are. I mean, I was walking this morning, and I'm right by a school here, and all the kids were all looking at
Yep.
their phones. No
Right.
one was communicating. They were sitting together in groups, but no one was communicating. And I think because of that, people don't know how to communicate anymore.
Right.
We're losing the art of communication. How do you have a conversation any longer if you're not looking down at your phone? And I know during the pandemic, I kind of became a news junkie. Well, what else were we going to do? And then it was a fascinating time to be a news
Yeah.
junkie. But then when it was kind of over, I said, okay, I got to divorce myself from this now. I need to move away and not pay as much attention to it. I mean, we're going to get it no matter what, and it's important to know what's going on, but
Yeah.
can't focus on it because all it can do is
No.
just drag you down rather than lift you up, unfortunately. So
Look, our brain is predisposed to be in that survival mode. And so whether it's a train wreck or a politician, whatever it might be, it's hard not to look. It's hard
right,
not to pay attention.
right.
And I'm as much as you, I'm addicted to hearing all the kind of, scandal drama that we're living through right now,
Yes.
right? Um, but I feel like you need to balance that out with something that this is your life. I mean, do you want to live in that guy's world, or do you want to live in your world? You know, because here's what we're learning, and you're right about kids looking at their phone. If I have your attention, I own you, and I can get your attention in a vulgar way, in the crass way, in a violent way. If I pointed a gun at you, I get your attention, right? If I have your attention, I have your consciousness, which is why guys like Trump are successful, because they'll say the most outrageous thing against women or people of color, whatever it might be, and you go, "Oh my God!" And it's like, but now he's got you, and that's the game that the media, I think, has followed. And the only way to fight that, I think, is with a more powerful form of emotional connection, which is beauty and wonder. It's not intellectual. It's not like, oh, what he said was illegal, or what he said wasn't right, or what he said wasn't morally correct. That doesn't work.
Right. Right.
That does. I mean, I need to grab your attention. I need to sweep you off your feet, right?
Right.
I need to just like, whoosh, because he's using something that's primal,
Mm-hmm.
and we're trying to use the energy of nature, which is all about life wants to flourish, life needs to go forward, life needs to celebrate, life is unstoppable. You know, I want to be part of that world.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. Oh, I love it. I love what you just said. It's beautiful. Real quick, because we're gonna run out of time in a minute or so, but I
Okay.
want to tell people where they can see Gratitude Revealed.
Mm-hmm. So it'll be in theaters. Well, go to gratituderevealed.com to see where it's going to be playing in theaters near you. And World Gratitude Day happens to be on September 21, and we're going to create a virtual gathering that'll be global, incorporating everything from Europe to Latin America to North America. We want everyone to feel connected, and those are the two big events. And also, Jan, we're going to hopefully do a screening in Santa Barbara
Oh, good.
for the Santa Barbara Permaculture Network at the high school. What's the
Oh,
name of the theater at the high school?
I
The
don't know. I'm
Okay,
still new here.
it's a big auditorium. We screened there before, but we're going to do a fundraiser to help the Santa Barbara Permaculture Society.
Love it. Love
Yeah,
it. Love it. Love it. That's
but
wonderful.
gratitudereveal.com's got all the information. We're also doing a lot of screenings in the hospitals, and we're honoring the nurses and all the frontline
Wonderful.
healthcare workers. Next week, I'll be at Mount Sinai. We're going to screen the film simultaneously in all 8 hospitals in all the boroughs of New York City.
Oh,
8,000 nurses, because they're the ones now that are suffering from
right.
PTSD. In
Right.
the middle of a crisis, you don't have the luxury of having PTSD.
Right.
But now it's kind of, finally becoming a tragic problem. So it's our way of expressing gratefulness to those that helped people the most when they needed it.
Well, I'm grateful that you have been on my show today, and I'm grateful for the time we've got to spend together, Louie. And I wish you much success with this. And everybody, really, this is a film everybody should see, all ages. It's a beautiful film. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jan. Appreciate it.
Me too. Thank you.